Hello everyone and welcome to the Deployment Research YouTube channel. My name is Johan Arvidmark, and in this video I will show you how you can extend ConfigMgr inventory to report on secure boot data certificate installations. And that means, of course, demo time. To give you a little bit of a background, a couple of weeks ago we ran our Secure Boot 2026 mini course on the Academy. During the course, we got a couple of questions on how we can use ConfigMgr to report on our progress to update the secure boot certificates. At the time, I was not aware of any solutions for ConfigMgr. There are plenty out there for Intune, but I didn't find anything for ConfigMgr. Now there is one. It turned out that one of our students, Eric Schloss, he put together a blog post showcasing how to do that in ConfigMgr, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you here. So, it's a simple 12-step process. We're going to start with step number 1 through 3. Check out the blog post, download the script, make some modifications to them, and see that they work on at least one machine in our environment. So, heading over here. So, here is the blog post from Eric. As you can see, he explained that he started out with the secure boot script from Microsoft and then adopted it, so instead it was save the data in a custom WMI class, and then he also configured ConfigMgr to extend the hardware inventory to get that data. In his environment, he did deploy those scripts as a configuration item and in a baseline, and I'm going to do exactly the same here in this environment. But first, let's focus on these 3 steps here again. And I'm going to head over to a client here. But first, I'm going to snatch the download link from here, copy that one, and then go over to a Windows 11 machine here. I like to add that the script requires the WinCS flag utility. So that means that you need to have a machine that has been updated at least since October 2025 last year, because that's when Microsoft added in that utility for Windows 11. The remaining operating systems came a little bit later, but Windows 11 has had it for quite some time now. Anywho, I'm going to open a browser. I'm not going to download PowerShell, but I'm going to go to that link, and I'm going to download the scripts. Go to that folder, unblock them, extract them, and I'm just going to copy them to a folder here. I'm going to call it Secure Boot, and I paste them there. So, first I want to modify this script here, the detection script, and I want to change the class to VOA for Online Academy and the name of the class. I like to have custom classes with some sort of prefix so I can easily find them. I'm going to save that one, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the second script. Edit that one. Head over to line 932 and change the class name there as well. And save the script. Now, just to validate that the script is actually working, I will have, I'm going to close this one because I need to run this elevated. So I'm going to open up a PowerShell prompt, and I'm going to run that script. And as you can see, it found that this particular machine was indeed updated with a certificate, and it also created this WMI class here on my machine. Now, if I open up WMI Explorer, I'm going to open up the new version that was released earlier this year. Connect to my machine, go to this namespace, and search for that prefix that I had. So here's the class, here's the instance, and here you can see the same data in this class. So I know that the script did what it was supposed to do. That means that I can go to the next step. So, step number 4. create a configuration item and baseline, adding the scripts to it, and then deploy it to a test collection. So, heading over to our ConfigMgr server, going to go to Assets and Compliance, Configuration Items, and New, or Create. Going to give it a good name. Click Next. This is fine. And I'm going to create a new setting for it. And I'm just going to call it SecureBoot Script. I'm going to change the type to a script type. The data is going to be string. That's what the script outputs. And then I'm going to add the detection script or the discovery script. So, add script, open, connect over to my machine that I was testing it on. Set up SecureBoot detection. Click OK on that one. You can see the new class name here. And the same thing for the remediation. Next step is to create a compliance rule. And I like to select this option so I can see when clients are indeed mitigating or having values changed. This will be tracked in a specific view in ConfigMgr database. So I'll create a new rule. Give it SecureBoot compliance name. And the value I'm looking for is compliant, because that's what the script outputs. I want to run the remediation script if it's non-compliant, and I also want to report this if a setting is not found. So click OK. OK again, and I'm now done with my configuration item. Next step is to create a baseline. I'm going to give that a similar name. Going to add in my configuration item. This one here. And I'm going to allow this one to apply even for co-managed clients because I have a couple of co-managed clients. And hit OK. And the final step will be to deploy this one to a test collection. So in my compliance settings, I have created a test collection to which I've added 6 machines. These machines here. Go back to my baseline. And I'm going ahead and deploy it. I'm going to pick that collection. And I'm going to tell it to remediate and also to do that outside maintenance window. This is just a read operation. It doesn't affect anything, so there is no harm running it at any given time. In a lab environment, you can definitely run it every day if you like, but for production, maybe every 7 days or something like that, or maybe a little bit shorter every 4 days. So click OK. And I have now done a deployment of that one. So that was step number 4. Step number 5 would be to verify that on the client. So I'll go back to number 8. Going to open up the control panel applet. Going to force a machine policy here. And then go to configurations. It found the new SecureBoot configuration baseline, but it had not yet evaluated it. So I'm going to go ahead and select that and click Evaluate. And this one now comes back as compliant. So now at least I know that my baseline and configuration item is somewhat functional. If I click the report here, I get a little bit more details about it, but it was a successful baseline. Now, worth mentioning is that ConfigMgr by default doesn't allow unsigned scripts to run, and these scripts are not signed. So that gives you basically two options. Either you sign the script yourself, or you relax the computer agent settings in ConfigMgr to allow unsigned scripts to run. But that is pretty standard. That's for all your other configuration baselines as well. And now I want to trigger that baseline to run on all the other test clients as well. And I don't want to do that manually, so I'm going to do that using a run script and a client notification. So I'll go back to my ConfigMgr console. Going to go to that collection. And I'm going to do a client notification on all of them. That's the equivalent of the machine policy refresh or cycle. But there is no notification to run a baseline, but I can do that through a run script. So I'm going to create a script. Can put it in here for now. Going to call it run secure bot baseline. Set a timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going to add a script that invokes a baseline on the client. Here is the script. If I open that in the code editor, you can see it's simply pointing out the name of the baseline, what computer to run it on, and then using a built-in class in the SDK or on the client to force it to run that one. Click Next. I have to approve the script. And then I'm going to go back to my collection and I'm going to run that script. So, assuming the script goes okay, I should now have 6 clients with a WMI class on each of them having that information that I want. It did look like the script went through without hiccup, so I'm going to close that one. And now we're ready for the next step. The next is to tell ConfigMgr to extend its inventory for the new WMI class that you guys created, or that I created here. So I'm going to go over to administration, go to client settings, default client settings. I'm going to import the class here, but I'm not going to enable it for everyone yet. I'm going to do that on a collection or a client setting that goes to a specific collection. Go to hardware inventory, set classes, click add. Connect to that machine, PC number 8. Search for that class. Whoops. Here we go. Click OK. But I'm not going to enable it here. So nothing is selected. I'm just adding the class. I'm going to click OK. And OK again. And then I can either use an existing custom client device setting, or I can create a new one. So I'm going to create a new one just for demo purposes. I'm going to call it Secure Boot. Select hardware inventory. Go to classes. Select that class and everything in it. Hit OK, and OK again. And the final step would be to deploy it to that collection. With those 6 machines. When you extend inventory in ConfigMgr, it will show that in the data loader log file. So I'm going to open that one up. data loader. And if I scroll up here a little bit, you can see that it did go ahead and create that view in SQL for me. So that means if I go to SQL Server Management Studio, I go to my ConfigMgr database, go to Views, and set a filter. You can see that it did create that view. I don't have any data in it yet because we haven't done any inventory of the clients, but ConfigMgr is preparing for it. So that was basically those two steps, 7 and 8. Now I can test this on a client. So go back to PC number 8. Back to the control panel. Go to Actions and force a machine policy. And then wait a little bit. And then run a hardware inventory cycle. Now I can review the client log file. I'm going to go to that location. The inventory agent log file. Going to search for VOA. And here you can see that it did indeed inventory that class on the client. Now I can also validate. Now I can also validate that on the server side by checking out these log files. So I'm heading back to my server. So on the server, I will open up the empty hardware inventory log. And as you can see, it found the data from the client, but it couldn't quite process it yet. It means that the server is not yet ready. And you can see down here that it's now forcing itself to reload that mapping table. And that means when the client does it the next time, we will have the data in there. I can also go to the data loader log file, the one we looked at earlier. And you can see here information is coming in from PC number 8. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to PC number 8. And I'm going to force a full hardware inventory. Simple PowerShell command here. And then after a little bit, we should have the data on the server. Or why not go ahead and do it for all the machines? Go back to my server, go to the collection, right click, computer policy, and then right click and do a hardware inventory. Now, after just a little bit, I can go over to my SQL server. I'm going to open up a query here. This one. I'm going to run this one here. As you can see, we've got data from the first client. The other 5 have not yet reported in yet, but give them a minute or two, and then I'm going to run this again. And now we have data from all the machines. If I run this one here, I get a nice little summary of the status, and I can see that I have 4 machines that are updated, 1 that is not started, and 1 that is in progress, meaning it's probably waiting for a reboot. But this is how you can inventory the secure boot update state on all your machines. And of course, you can create reports out of this or run PowerShell scripts out of this to get the data. But it's nice to have it in ConfigMgr. Again, a big thank you to Eric Schloss for not just putting the solution together, but also for sharing it with the community. Much appreciated. that is all for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in another video. Bye for now.